Next on Worcester News Tonight, the Worcester Public Schools are getting a new Chief Diversity Officer, but some aren't thrilled with the choice. Plus, a Worcester woman is dead. Police say she was stabbed to death, and they're looking to talk with a person in connection with the incident. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Break out the jackets. The fall weather is definitely here and it looks like it may be sticking around. Let's get a first check of our local forecast with meteorologist Tim Kelly.
Chilly is right today and gray and damp. We actually had raindrops come in mid-afternoon. That was a little earlier than I expected. Now the air down here near the ground coming from the east and the southeast. But up in the sky, the air is coming from the west, and that's where our weather is coming from. We did manage the low 50s downtown, but at the airport we didn't even make 50. This is the coldest air mass since, I think, early in May. So here comes some downpours. Here's the clock, 12:30 tonight. Now, note there are holes between the raindrops in here, and when it's not raining or pouring, there's heavy drizzle and fog. There's not too much wind, but it's going to try and come in from the south. Low pressure is coming right overhead tonight. Tomorrow morning, it is damp, it is cold, it is jacket weather, 45 to 50 at 5:30 in the morning. But then the sun's going to break through, and then you may have another shower. Temperature's going to be in the mid-50s for a time, maybe about 3 o'clock or so. But then the wind is going to pick up. It's going to gust past 30 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon, almost chalking a wind chill factor tomorrow night. But at least it's going to clear out for a beautiful Saturday. More on our weekend coming up in a few minutes.
A 34-year-old Worcester woman is dead. Police say she was stabbed several times. The incident happened at this home on LaPierre Street Wednesday night. Police say they're looking to speak with 36-year-old Thomas Bergstrom in connection with the stabbing, but have not yet identified him as a suspect. Neighbors say they're shaken up over the incident.
It's scary. It's not common in this neighborhood at all. There isn't even really much noise in this neighborhood, let alone crime.
We never used to lock our doors, and I can't get over that. Like, it was never even a concern or a thought for us.
Police say this was not a random act. No arrests have been made. Federal agents arrest 4 men in Worcester on drug charges. One of them, the president of a local market. According to the Telegram, he's charged with conspiring to sell the fentanyl at Albino's Market on Route 9. All 4 men face an intent to distribute charge. A DEA informant made more than a dozen controlled drug purchases there using wire surveillance. The DEA says the men sold pills they claimed were oxycodone, but turned out to be fentanyl. Albino's Market is located across the street from UMass Memorial Medical Center. The Worcester Public Schools are hiring a Chief Diversity Officer. The position is a new requirement in the district following months of demonstrations against the superintendent. But the coalition behind those demonstrations says they're not satisfied with Benenda's choice. Our Cam Jandro is in Worcester tonight with those details. Cam?
Anna, Worcester Public Schools has been working on this position for several months now. The deadline for applicants was July 19th. Superintendent Maureen Benenda says they got a decent amount of applicants and she's finally made her decision. Superintendent Maureen Benenda says her pick for the school district's Chief Diversity Officer will help recruit a more diverse staff and create an inclusive environment.
I should be working with our Director of Curriculum on culturally responsive instruction and materials.
Yvonne Perez is the principal of Chandler Magnet School and will take on the new position. According to the superintendent, she has decades of experience working in education.
She's had a lot of success working with our students, our L population, English language learners population. She is involved in a lot of activities in our community.
As part of Benenda's recent contract renewal, she was required to create the new position as part of a 14-point plan. A diversity officer was one of the recommendations from the Worcester Coalition for Education Equity. The group opposed extending the superintendent's contract. They're also not satisfied with the pick for Chief Diversity Officer.
Based on the resume that I reviewed that she submitted for the position, I don't see any expertise on an administrative level and on a managerial level.
Isabel Gonzalez-Webster says the coalition is upset over what they believe was a lack of communication and public input about the position.
And what concerns me is that the community has been talking about lack of transparency on the behalf of Superintendent Maureen Benenda.
Benenda disagrees, saying the job was advertised, more than a dozen candidates applied, and it was treated like all other district positions.
It's a Worcester Public School position, and we follow the process that we use for hiring of employees in the Worcester Public Schools.
Now, Perez does not have the job yet. Her appointment is scheduled and on the agenda at tonight's school committee meeting. We're in Worcester tonight. I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
The risk level for EEE is critical in Grafton, and the town's Board of Health says more needs to be done. Selectmen support the board's recommendation to join the Central Massachusetts Mosquito Control Project. Voters will have the chance to approve it at an October 21st town meeting. The town has rejected joining the Mosquito Control Project 3 times already, but Selectman Ed Prisby says now's the time for voters to support the move. The Massachusetts Department of Public Health confirmed 1 human case of the disease in Grafton back in August. A new state police unit will work on unsolved murder cases in Massachusetts. As our Chandler Walsh explains, it could help to solve a nearly 20-year case with ties to Central Massachusetts. She joins us now with those details. Chandler?
Anna, the Mass State Police Colonel Carrie Gilpin announced the new unit this week. Here in Worcester County, the DA's office and the family of Molly Bish are happy with the news and hope it brings justice for families across the state. The family of Molly Bish is hopeful a new state police unit will solve Molly's murder.
I think that many of us families will get answers that we've been looking for.
16-year-old Molly Bish was abducted from her lifeguard post in Warren in 2000. Her remains were found nearby years later. Sister Heather Bish says the first detectives on the case didn't have much experience working on murders.
We tried to describe her character and it sort of fell on deaf ears. So later into the investigation, I had requested a behavior analysis unit and working with the FBI and a more experienced team of homicide detectives.
5 dedicated troopers with homicide investigation backgrounds will make up the State Police Unsolved Case Unit. Worcester County District Attorney Joe Early Jr.'s office will work with them looking for new developments.
After a little while, time becomes your friend, because people who had different reasons for not talking will call up to get something off their chest.
Heather Bish says she's hopeful it will improve communication with victims' families, and she's grateful specialized investigators are on the case.
Local police are not trained in missing persons cases, and depending on where you live and what the leadership in that particular police organization is sort of a roll of the dice.
DA Early says additional resources and eyes on cases like Molly's make a big difference.
Anytime you take a second look at anything, it makes it that much better that maybe something was overlooked or maybe something that didn't seem important based on other information in DNA or familial DNA leads us to a spot where we are now.
Also this week, Heather Bish was appointed to the Massachusetts Missing Persons Task Force by Governor Baker. She's the only civilian member and will take oath in the coming months. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
There may be a solution for Grafton residents who wake up to the loud sound of train horns in the morning. Selectmen agreed to meet with residents to discuss possible changes to the train route during Tuesday night's meeting. Possible options include adding more railroad crossing gates and traffic signs and changing around a couple of roads. Grafton selectmen say they want to talk with residents first before any changes are made. No date has been set for the meeting. Students at WPI are developing a system which will search for landmines and detonate them. As our Abby Burke explains, it will provide a safer and more cost-effective way to remove the deadly threat.
Students at WPI are developing a robot and drone to search for and deactivate landmines. According to UNICEF, each year landmines planted during wartime kill or injure up to 20,000 people worldwide.
The problem is that very often when they're deployed, They're deployed in the heat of the moment, where the locations of the minefields become lost, and so after the conflict is over, the mines persist.
Right now, student researchers control this robot with a computer. The goal is it will be autonomous. It uses a metal detector and is able to safely find suspected landmines and mark them.
And then each time it actually finds a mine, it will stop, report the GPS location of that mine to the drone. Then the user will load the drone with some sandbags, and the drone will fly over the mine, drop a sandbag on it, and detonate it.
This multi-year project is a graduation requirement for the WPI students. They are hoping to finish this project by the end of the academic year.
I hope it can do some good. I mean, there is a humanitarian landmine crisis in the world, and some current demining methods aren't the most effective, and so there's a huge application for robotics in that field.
After 4 years, Putnam says this might be the class to finish this project. He says this robot has the potential to help end the world landmine problem. In Worcester, I'm Abby Burke, Worcester News Tonight.
Rent prices are climbing in Worcester. A Texas real estate firm says the city's rent costs increased by more than 6% in the last year. Worcester had the 8th highest increase of the city studied. RealPage says Worcester's average rent in the third quarter of this year is almost $1,700 a month.